I'm
And
used to making like abbreviations because I'm like I do game
I
development.
understand, but greetings, readers and
Uh,
travelers, and welcome to another episode of Stats on Stats. My name is Richie Stevens, and I am your host here on the channel. Today, we are joined for the very first time by Don Chapman. Don, how are you today?
I'm very well, thank you. It's good to be here, so I'm
And we
excited.
and we are excited to have you here. Before
Thank
I
you.
go to introduce my normal co-host, because he's always here, he doesn't really need any introduction. But this is the start of level 3. We've been doing this for 3 years, and we still have no
That's,
idea what we're doing. It's okay. We love to see it.
yeah.
But
And I feel really bad now being the first one on. No.
no, no, don't. We're gonna have fun. But
I know.
joining me as always, he doesn't need any introduction. He's here with me almost every show when he doesn't bail on me or sleeps through the show. We've had
what?
that.
I did. What? What are
Joseph
these
Harvey.
accusations?
I'm calling you Joseph today.
No, I hate that name.
Joel,
Uh,
how are you?
I am fantastic. I'm excited to start a new season. Stats on Stats. We have some good authors lined up to talk about.
Great.
Um, yeah, I'm excited to be here. Let's do it.
All right. Well, as before we get started, we did do a couple of giveaways last year that we didn't get to do the actually giving away of, which was
Ooh,
one was for Vampire Sorcerer by Stephen Landry, a signed, excuse me, sorry, a signed copy, and then also a signed copy of Titan Mage. I am excited to announce that the winners for that are Drunk with Buds. He won a copy of the Vampire Sorcerer, and then Bridget KV won a copy of Titan Mage. So congratulations. I
nice.
will be in contact with them soon so we can send them out their signed copies.
Awesome.
But we do have a couple of good shows lined up for this year. We'll probably announce those at the end of the episode. But that's okay. We'll go ahead and dive into today's episode, which is Don Chapman's series, Space Seasons. Now, Don, why don't you give us a little bit of a background of what Space Seasons is?
Um, Originally, I my original concept was to write something about seasons, um, and I always kind of start with like a theme, which for me was for winter. So I started with a winter planet, and kind of like built the world from the planet, kind of and how I wanted it, um, and sort of the character kind of comes to me, and my husband was actually in intensive care at the time, so it was I just sat by his hospital bed making notes, picking characters apart and different bits and pieces, and like what I wanted for the character Kyle, and that's kind of like how it came about, really. My little notebook by the hospital bed.
Oh, wow. That's
Yeah.
that must have been something hard to write through though.
I tend to stress write, so if I'm really stressed, I do write more, which I get pretty stressed quite often, so that's why I write a lot. I just kind of hide in the worlds that I kind of create. I have done ever since I was like a teenager, really. So
Well,
it's just the person that I am.
I gotcha. Well, I know like this day and age, it's super stressful no matter what you do,
Yeah,
and just being alive is stressful. It feels like so that's why we have books because those can be our escape
exactly.
sometimes.
Exactly. And that's kind of like how I dealt with a lot of stuff as a teenager. And um, like my first book I ever wrote was 170,000 words. I was like 15.
Oh my god.
So it was like, it's actually up there on the shelf. That's why I was saying before, I was actually I kept all the hard copies, the original hard copies of it. And this last year, clearing out the house, I was actually burning it. And I was like, this is a shame. This is just never ever going to see the light of day. And I'd seen the cover in one of my designer groups, and she put it on sale for like $100. I was like, oh, go on, let's just hit publish on it. So I just formatted it as it was when I wrote it at like 17, put put the cover on it, and that was it. Yeah, hit publish. So it's actually still on sale, but it's like $100, so no one ever buys it.
Oh my god.
But yeah, that's how I kind of got going.
That
Really,
that's
my
that's gonna
first
be a
ever.
collector's item though. That's
Well, yeah, one day it's full of teen angst.
hey, we like teen angst. I think Joel, do we like teen angst here?
I think you like some teen angst.
It's like
Don't word it like
aliens
that.
and traveling to Earth, and like it's proper teenage angst stuff.
Okay.
It's quite funny, but there you go.
All right. Well, I mean, so space seasons. What
Yep.
would you recommend like the preferred age group be for this? Like, would you say it's like more of a 16 plus, 18 plus? Because there is like some, you
I
know.
would, yeah, I would say it hints on more adult themes. He
Mm-hmm.
does have a relationship. It's kind of like a thing that happens towards the end of book one. Some people liked it. Some people are like, oh no, this is like no, you can't be doing that. But it's yeah. So the relationships grow. So I'd say 18.
18. Okay. Because I mean, like the start of the book, probably about halfway through.
Yeah.
I would give it like a what is it, a T rating if it was like a
Yeah.
game. You know,
Ah, okay. Yeah.
because yeah, there's language, there's some killing and stuff, but there's not a lot of like anything super
No.
wow.
I do describe him cutting his arm off, but I don't go into like massive details about it. He does like have to
Right.
chop his own arm off. So
Well, he has to chop his face off at some point too, so
yeah, that's true. He does.
he goes all
I
New 52 Batman in here.
yeah, I remember one of my fans messaged me in the middle of the night telling me like as she was listening to it, she was going through like her emotional experience, and she got to that bit and she was like, "Oh my god, he's cut his face off." It's like, how could you do that to him? And I was like, well, I do get called for being really mean.
Hey, we like brutality, especially in our books. If the brutaler, the better. Or is it the
Yeah.
more brutal? Whatever the phrase is, the more brutal, the better. We'll just go with that.
Brutalist.
Brutalist, yes. I want to see
Yeah,
some straight up barbarian action. I want
I'll
to see
remember that.
I want to see dismemberment. I want to see blood. I want to see gore. Um,
Well,
Joel, how did you find out about Space Seasons?
I'm pretty sure I found out about it through you,
Was it me?
actually. Yeah,
Okay, I couldn't remember if it was me or not.
I
So
I think.
the way I
I
found out,
probably saw it on the store before, like you recommended it to me, but uh yeah, I think actually getting around to it, you were like recommending it to me. I was like, oh yeah, I should probably check that out.
I apologize for the door opening behind me. Lunar is still scratching at the door, so I'm just kind of giving him like a way to get in here, so he'll lay down. Cool.
Yeah,
Thank
for
you, bud.
those who don't know, Richie is a huge fan of Star Wars and sci-fi and space
hi,
I am.
operas,
I have like a
and
whole bookshelf that is just dedicated to Star Wars
that's
books.
cool. I'm definitely a sci-fi girl at heart. I grew up with all Battlestar Galactica, all the original like the 70s, 80s TV shows. That's kind of like where I get a lot of my sort of inspiration from. So
yeah,
Well, I
definitely.
I've all, I like the fantasy setting, but after so much, it just
Mhm.
like you need to change a space.
Of
No
course,
pun intended. Um,
I know.
I'm
but I
disappointed.
found out about Space Seasons because it showed up in one of the Lit RPG group pages. I can't remember when it was,
Mhm.
but it was like right around at the start of me getting into Lit RPG. I had read through the
Mhm.
entirety of the land,
Yeah.
and then I dived into. Okay, go, bud. Thank you. The gamer kitten's at it again. Um, I went through the land, and then I dived into Andrew Rose series, the Arcane Ascension
Oh
and
yeah.
War Broken
Yeah.
Mirrors, one of my favorite series of all time. And Joel was like, okay, you need to get off of Nick Podell and get into some of the other narrators.
Ah, yeah. I see.
So he recommended World Seed to me, and
Mhm.
it just didn't click. Like I don't know what it was. It just wasn't clicking with me and everything. And then I saw that it was Space Seasons, Winter Harvest. I remember seeing that cover, and I was like, okay, that looks really cool. I didn't look into it at all. I just saw the cover, and I was like, okay, that's a badass cover. And then I
It
saw the
was.
narrator, and I was like, Neil Helligers. Oh, that's the guy who's doing, you know, the World Seed. Okay, I'll check this out. And I did, and I listened to it, I think, in one shift at work.
Yeah, cool.
And I powered through that book. It was
Right.
so good. And then, of course, when the omnibus, which shameless plug here, if you have Audible, there is a box set on Audible for 1 credit.
Yeah, it's like,
Go.
is it 40 or 50 hours? I can't quite remember, but it's over 40 easily.
Yeah,
So
but I think
it's
isn't Whisper Sync on for it as well? So if they have the Kindle version, they get the.
yes, I think so. So even if you bought this, the single books or got them whenever, it's you can
Yeah,
always whisper sync it. So yeah.
but for the best bang for your buck, though, that is. As soon as it came up, even though I own books 1 through 4 on Audible, I
Oh,
bought the omnibus just because I was like, I need this one collection.
yeah.
And we, of
Uh,
course, have our favorite admin in the chat, Zeckler. The cover art of all of these are S tier. That is true. That is so,
yeah.
so very true.
Yeah, she was a very, very good artist, and it was I'd already booked her before I signed with Mountaindale,
Mm-hmm.
and we tried a couple of different artists, and I wasn't kind of very impressed with what came through, and in the end, I was like, well, I've already got the slots for these books booked. Can I just use Amalia? And that's that's who we went with. So
All right. Well,
I was very
so let's talk about the series real quick. Well, we're gonna dive into that and kind of go through the first book and pick it apart a little bit, at least the first half, just because I
yeah.
don't want to spoil everything for people,
Uh-huh.
but I definitely want to grab their attention.
Go,
So
go for it.
walk us through the beginning of the book. We get in, we meet our main character. He's going to see if he passed this exam, and it turns out
Yeah.
he did not.
No, yeah, he fails the exam, which is a real shock because he's done so well right up until obviously he takes these exams, and if you fail the exam, he gets basically conscripted to go and fight in this war that he doesn't really know a lot about because he never thought he'd get booted out and sent over there. So he never spent any time researching what was going on out there, or the whole thing is quite a mystery because he doesn't know himself what's going on. So it's some people don't like the mystery side of it, and others do. It can be quite hard to follow because you're discovering things as he discovers it, which there's a lot of added complications as we go through,
Mm-hmm.
like especially the first, because he expects to be sent to a beginner planet, which everybody starts, basics, learn from the basics, but he doesn't start there. He ends up on a planet which obviously is the winter planet, and it's supposed to be for like level 10s, and he's like, shit, I'm just like level 0, what's going on, kind of thing.
But he does get
So he's
he gets a pretty good kill at the very beginning as soon as
He
he
does. He
spawns.
does. Yeah. Well, at the end of the day, he's still, he might not be trained in any game system that he's gone into, in the beginning of the book, but he's still played a lot of games, and he spends a lot of time with his mate at the game center, in his life, which he has a girl that he likes there. So it's just one of them. He does play a lot of games, so he does get a very lucky kind of strike at the beginning, which obviously always helps. So
All right, Joel,
Yeah.
what are your thoughts?
Um yeah, my thoughts honestly, like I I don't know. I feel like the whole being conscripted part is very like uh I don't know. That's like relevant because we're like, oh, is like
yeah,
World War III about to like go down right now? And I'm like,
There's some alien war stuff
if
going
there
on.
was
yeah.
some conscription going on, I feel like I'd just
In the
pull it.
background, there was a lot going on because they basically were sending millions of people out there to the war, and they kind of started running out of people. So this is kind of like one of the biggest mysteries: is like, why do they suddenly start faking
Yeah, like these test
taking
scores.
people basically. Yeah, exactly. He was like top of his class and everything. There's no way he should have been sent out there. Um, that's kind of like one of the mysteries he wants to get behind is like, they're actually sending people that shouldn't be here. They should be, they're good people that should be back on Earth, living good lives, building Earth up, not sent to kill aliens. So
All right. Zekler just told me I have a little bit of an echo, so I'm trying to get that fixed.
well,
And I
yeah.
have a cat scratching at my door. Zekler, hopefully that sounds a little bit better. It's probably just because I'm not up on my mic and I'm trying to stay in camera shot. So I might be able to adjust this just a smidge. Hopefully that fixes it a little bit. I'll wait for
No
Zekler to
echoes.
give me some feedback on that. But bit better. Yeah, it's a bit better. Yeah, it's not killer. Okay.
Sweet.
We'll just I'll bring the mic a little bit closer, angle this bad boy up. There we go. That should fix it. So, as we dive kind of into the book a little bit more, it just gets more and more fast paced. I don't think it slows down at all.
I, I actually got told off at certain points to actually slow it down. So there's certain points in the book where I really had to sort of. I was trained as a screenwriter,
Mm-hmm.
um, and I spent many years writing scripts, and it's literally, you know, straight through, bum 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 bum. You get tiny little pockets of relaxing in stories and things like that, and that's kind of like how I am. I am literally just action based, but I did have to be told to slow down at certain points. We'd like to experience just a little bit of life, so
Yeah, it
it,
was
it 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 is fast.
thinking back to it, it it was like fast paced now that I think about it. Is it it almost makes it hard to like keep up with the characters
Yeah, yeah,
because there are a lot of characters. Well,
yeah,
yeah. Uh
yeah. Neil
but
had some fun.
one thing that I do enjoy is the balance that you uh make with the different personalities that are
Hmm.
like living inside of the main character,
Yeah. There's
Kyle.
a few people asked me kind of like how it was to balance the because there's basically three or four people inside his head towards the end, and I think I can't remember. There's a couple of books that I read, which did that very very well, and one of them's The Host. I think is it Stephanie Meyer?
Stephanie
Did
Meyer,
she?
yeah.
Yeah, she did. Yeah, and I really liked that. I didn't read any of the other books, but I picked that one up. And I just breezed through it. So that kind of like, and that was like she had like another person in her head, and that's kind of like how I saw Kyle with Zerob, and even I can't. It's terrible when you can't
There's
remember your own characters' names.
Zura,
Hiroto, Hiroto,
Naruto, and
Exy.
Exy. Yeah.
Yeah. So the character I really wanted to build on, which was obviously like the first one, which was Hiroto, who's actually his name was a friend of mine, which I lost a good few years ago. So I kind of like took his name to build into the character. Maybe a tiny little bit of his personality, but it's I just really wanted him to be really sort of bouncy and snarky, and it looks like standoffish when he wanted to be, and funny. It's I liked his sort of like his funny characteristics, and he was always baiting Kyle. And Neil did such a great job of the balance of that between the fun side of Hiroto and
Yeah.
Kyle. So
So Hiruto is honestly kind of a bit of a mystery. At least I don't know if I like uh wasn't paying attention enough, but
mhm.
like do we figure out like what he is? Like is he
It's kind of really hard. I don't actually remember which book it sort of dives into, whether it's in the first four or it's afterwards. Because obviously I've got five and six out as well, but they're not on audio. Um,
I think it was.
like is he a
It's not four.
Denji? I know he's like whenever he gets his chip implanted, he has that other intelligence like integrated with him.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know if it like tells us that he's a Denti or if he's like
Uh,
another human or
so
like
he is human. He was he does come from Earth. There is a little bit of stuff. I just can't remember which book it's in. There is a story about how he actually gets into the chip before Kyle, because Kyle had his chip implanted on his birthday. Um, so there's a little bit about how he got there. It might be Steel Hearts actually, because Lindsay actually meets Kyle's father and the two best mates before they go back into the game. Um, well, not game kind of thing. So it might be Steel Hearts actually. But yeah, so you kind of get a little bit more background of Hiroto and this how the whole thing there comes together.
Okay.
I'll send you a code for that, then you can listen.
I I I would definitely take that because I like my audio books. Um, I'm just hold on one second.
Poor cat. Causing chaos.
hmm
And of course, right as I open the door, he just rolls over and
Disappears.
no, he was laying there. He just wanted to roll over and he's not used to me being in here
Being locked away. It's like, why
because
you shut up?
I'm either usually on my couch or in bed, and now he's like, "Oh, Dad's in the studio."
Oh, now I want attention.
And of course, it's not when I've been working on my first audiobook or anything like that. It's just now when I'm trying to do something
Live,
live.
for sure.
Oh, good lord. Life is something else sometimes.
It is. It sure is.
And we've already had our first tech issues of the year for stats.
Blame me. It's fine.
No, we're not blaming you. It's not your
Nah,
fault. It's
it's my
Joel's.
bad.
It's Joel's. We're blaming Joel. He's taking full accountability for this one.
No problem.
So, what was like the big drive for the mechanics in the game or in the like the world that they're in? Because obviously they have their respawn system,
Yeah.
and then also the system where it what is it that they lose 2% of their memories every time they die, or does it
Yeah.
it varies?
It varied really. The basics of it was that the system itself couldn't keep up with the amount of mines that was going into it because of on all the respawns and the continuation of like keeping the bodies going and obviously the fake bodies, the Denti. Um, so it was kind of a case that they started to take away memories to reduce the mass, the load on the system. So obviously, like the more you forgot about Earth, the more you were just interested in obviously just fighting the war kind of thing until eventually you were just basically a mindless soldier. Um, that's kind of like how I wanted that to come across. But there is glitches in it all because obviously the system was failing. It's kind of like one of them where it's struggling for its memory mass. So that's kind of like for that side of it. For the actual mechanics, for the like for his levels and stuff, I just worked it out all out in what I wanted him and what technical kind of aspects I wanted him to gain, and kind of as it progressed through, I kind of honed down different ones that I wanted him to focus on. So especially like with the Kenosi and which is kind of like the more cultivation magic
Mm-hmm.
side, um,
So
which obviously.
I have to ask, and I think you probably answered this earlier. Do you prefer more of a fantasy setting or a sci-fi setting when it comes
I
to?
do I do prefer more sci-fi.
Okay, that's
I don't
and
mind. I don't mind fantasy myself. I kind of penned out a few ideas for a couple myself, but I always tend to drift if I start off thinking it's, and then when I start writing, it just goes sci-fi. So I might as
oh,
well just write it sci-fi.
well, and that was kind of my big thing about when I saw Space Seasons because there wasn't, at least at the time when I listened, I hadn't seen a lot of sci-fi books. I think the only
No.
ones I saw were that at least took place outside of
Yeah.
Earth. Like because like there's the futuristic settings and everything, but
Mhm.
I think what was it? The Shadow Sun
There's-
series, but that didn't leave Earth until I want to say the end of book
yeah.
two, and then you had, of course, the World Seed because it has like a whole
Mhm.
thing in it, but that one just didn't click for me. But
Yeah.
instantly, as soon as he got into the game and everything for um, Space Seasons, it hit.
Mhm.
And I think at that time when I discovered it, book two was already out on Kindle, I think, or it was
Yeah.
up for pre-order.
We Yeah, they did pre-orders. It was the full four books were out every month through the beginning of the pandemic.
Mm.
So it was like, yeah, boom, 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 four books done. Um, which kind of really helped it keep in sort of like in the top whatever for like 5,000 for the first like 4 months of its life, which was really good. Um, it did. Sci-fi doesn't do as well as fantasy. It didn't
Mm.
do as well as some of the other fantasy books would have done. But because considering it was, obviously written by a girl as well, it's like it's one of them where it did very well. So I am pleased with how it did.
It's a phenomenal series, and I can't stress it enough. I know I say this for almost every series we've had on the show. Don't sleep on this series. It's really good. I think
Yeah.
it took me a couple weeks to convince Zeckler to listen to it because he was just like, "Oh, there's so much going on." And then as he was listening to it, he was just like, "Okay, this is good. This
It's
is
really
really good."
it's really how did you find the audio? Or
M-
how did you
Me,
I think they did a good
Yeah.
job.
I found the audio great. Or are you
Because that
asking
was
like how I found out about the audio?
no, because it was my first audio editing
Oh,
of a
okay.
different narrator. So I did that myself, and it was like,
No.
Mountaindale said to me, um, it's okay, it's fine, you can do the audio. And then it was like, okay, that's fine. And they was like, you can edit it, and I was like, really? And I was like, oh shit.
No,
So,
it was really good, and I listened to a lot of that stuff just to kind of like
yeah.
make sure because I was listening to what was it, the Irrelevant Jack series a couple weeks ago from
Mhm.
Prax Banter, and I ended up messaging Justin Thomas James about it because in one of the chapters he was really quiet compared to like
uh,
Andrea or Jeff,
oh yeah,
and it
yeah.
was going back and forth, and I was like, I had to turn it up every time to listen to it. And
Mhm.
he was just like, "Oh, thank you for bringing that to my attention." I was like, "Hey,
Yeah.
it's no problem." And of course, Zach Johnson would always ask me when I would listen to one of his books. He's like, "Did you hear anything like off or
Oh
anything like
yeah.
that?" And I'm like, "No, no, it sounded great."
I mean, I'm only human. When I first did it, I didn't know ACX had certain standards, so I listened to it, and I actually didn't raise the gain enough. I didn't make it loud enough,
Mm-hmm.
so I had to actually go back and redo the whole book
Oh
again.
no.
But that's just the way you learn. So I mean, it's definitely not. It's not to my standards now. If I was going to do it again, I would do it differently. But I did enjoy doing it, so
Well,
I
that's
learned a lot with Neil. Neil's absolutely awesome to work with.
Neil is just a wonderful person in general. We
Yeah,
had him on the show. I think it was like June or
that's
July of 2021, our first year of
mhm.
doing the show. It was for the
Yes.
Penultimate Conquest 1 year anniversary. That's what we had it because it took place on a day Stats on Stats took place. So we did it during the middle of their 12-hour stream. We just like switched everything over and we got
Oh,
Neil
cool.
on. And
Yeah, he's
we
great.
mainly were talking about like the bad guys and everything. But I was like, oh yeah,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
did Space Seasons. You did, or we were talking about good guys and
He does
bad
a
guys.
lot of stuff.
We did.
yeah. He does. He's done a lot of
He
stuff.
is
Yeah.
just so good, and it was hard for me when I was going into when I went back to listen because I just listened to the newest Good Guys book, Flex in the
Mhm.
City, and the entire time I was thinking, okay, he's not Montana, he's not any of the characters from
He's got such
Eric
a
Uglin's.
different voice. I mean, I find that with most of the narrators when they actually talk, is they've got such different voices,
Mm-hmm.
generally compared to how they narrate for people. And when they talk to you on a like face to face, you're like, wow, you sound totally different. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Uh,
Neil did a great. I loved working with him. So
we
I am going to record the next few books with Neil eventually.
I can't wait. Neil is just he's too damn good. He's way
I
too
think
good.
that's when one of uh it just clicked for me
Mm.
is having like these authors on and being like, oh my gosh, this is like one of my favorite like book characters, and to just
Yeah.
like have them on the show and talk to them, I was like, yeah, this is really cool. I think we want to do this more.
I always ask, especially because Space Seasons has got such a complicated character sort of diversity, is who's your favorite character within sort of like Kyle? Who do you kind of like around the main cast? Because everybody is so different on who they prefer as like their favorite character. Obviously not Kyle, but
Ooh.
I would
I find that
probably have to
fascinating.
say Hiruto or uh Taito, like
Oh yeah,
later Taito.
yeah, Laser Tighter.
I'm gonna go with
But
Hiruto.
Yeah, sweet.
Yeah, that's who I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna yell at this cat again. I apologize.
Yeah, I do like Hiroto. Taito definitely grew on me,
yeah.
especially through the series. He does become a very big character, um, even like through book 5 and 6. Um, 5 had some of my favorite moments, which I really do. I'm gonna have to try and get Neil to do book 5 this year. I need to book him quick, get him in. But yes, there's some really good moments between the characters. Um, even Zerob, he's got such
Yeah.
background and character. I like writing them all. I do.
There's a
I
lot of good
really need to finish
characters.
it.
There's a lot of good
I
characters
also
in this
like
series.
Dylan. I think
Oh
Dylan's
yeah,
a cool
Dylan's
character.
really good.
Nah.
Yeah, especially because he's sweet on Hiroto as well.
Yeah, he basically turns into like a druid guy almost,
Mm.
where he's like as a pet.
Yeah, yeah, it's quite yeah.
Well, Joel, thank you for bringing that up because one thing we like to ask, we haven't. I don't think we've done it super recently, but what is your like go-to like race and class combo, like in a like an RPG setting?
It's difficult because I don't get to play a lot of games and I haven't done for many years. Um, I would say for race combination for me, it'd be like human and elf because I just like that kind of mix. Um, and I did that for Achilles' Reign, and she was like a half elf. Um, just because I think you can, I just like you can play with them a little
Mm-hmm.
bit more magical background. Usually they've got tropes themselves,
Yeah.
magic in the background and things like that. And so I do
Okay.
actually playing games. I do like to hit things, so I do tend to like berserkers.
You just
uh,
like to get right up in the
yeah,
action.
yeah, I do. Yeah,
All
so
right.
if we're actually playing games, I would tend to pick a berserker kind of
Fair.
build, somebody that'll smash. I'm quite violent.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with some violence because we like to hit things.
Yeah,
Because Joel and I,
definitely.
we tend to play some Monster Hunter every now and then, or we'll play
Uh,
some Overwatch, and we like to be up close and personal. Joel
yeah.
prefers dual shotguns if we're playing Overwatch because Reaper.
Yeah. Uh,
Joel, since
My stomach.
if this is people's first time tuning into the show, what is your favorite go-to class and race combo?
for uh, it's like anything.
Yeah, anything.
Well, if we're playing D&D, I like to go Warlock. Just because I'm an edge lord, I guess. I don't know. I just like the dark magic aspects. Um, race. Oof, I don't know.
So many combinations everywhere.
Yeah, all of them.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay, Chimera King, listen here.
dude, that would be epic.
Nice to try different things as well. I think in them, even if you
Yeah.
do have like a regular build where you play in different games, I think when you try something new, they have different sort of races or different classes and different kind of offshoots, and it's good to just try them before you go to your regular kind of build.
I think in my last D&D campaign we did, I was I forget what they're called. I want to say shifter.
I thought you did an artificer your last D&D campaign.
It was a artificer, but the race was like a feline, like shifter,
Oh,
like
okay.
character.
I was a drunken dwarf in my last D&D, and I was playing with some of the Andrew Seapoll from the States. He was the dungeon master.
That sounds awesome.
Andres
That
and a
does
couple of
sound like
others.
fun.
It was good fun. Unfortunately, like COVID hit, and it was like I got COVID, so we stopped playing on the Sunday, and it kind of fizzled out after then. But it was good fun while we were doing it. So
I think what we need
we
to
did it
do
in
this year
Discord.
is do a live episode at Dragon Con and just do a D&D episode.
Do they have like a board games like
They do have
Kind
a
of like
massive
how at
board
Gen
game.
Con.
area? Yeah.
Yeah, they
So-
do at Dragon Con. It's like rooms all set out for games.
Yeah, we're just gonna have to.
we-
Joel, that's your bachelor party.
Dude,
Just as a heads up, that's your bachelor party.
That would be a. I'd be okay with it, but I'd also be a little disappointed.
Jeff Hayes said he said cosplay strippers, and I was like, nah, I can't get Joel into too much trouble.
I'm attempting to cosplay for one event with my narrator Stephanie, but she's like the tiniest little thing you've ever seen in your life, and I'm not. And I'm like, we'll see how it goes.
I really, really want to make a quick save cosplay for anyone who's read The Perfect Run.
Good series. Good series.
Yeah.
No, Joel, we have to do Morning Assassin and
I'm
Quantum
not
Hughes.
going as Morning Assassin.
Harmon Cooper said we have to, so you know what Harmon says goes.
So you're going to Dragon Con then, the both of you?
The Stats on Stats
yes,
will be
we are
doing Dragon
trying to
Con
make
this
it
year.
this year.
Nice, because I will see you there.
I've already told Jez that we were going, and he was like, "Oh, you guys are coming." I was like, "Yeah, we are."
You're in trouble.
Yeah, I told him I would be bringing my hardback copy of Alpha, so that way he could sign it for me. I'm going to be either leaving with more books than I show up with, or I'm leaving with books that haven't been signed.
Yeah, I mean, it's really hard because in the actual event itself, you don't want to be carrying massive amount of weight, because literally when you leave your hotel room in the morning, I was leaving at like, I'd go and meet a couple of the guys for breakfast at like 5:30, 6 o'clock. After only going to bed at like 3.
Oh yeah, Joel and I are going to be dead on this entire trip.
Yeah.
It's
literally, there's no sleep whatsoever, and once you leave the door, I never went back for anything. So if you take something out in the morning, it was literally you were out with it all day and all night.
I'm probably gonna.
I remember last time I went as Naruto, Hokage Naruto, and I ended up using my cape and like folding it into a bag to like put all my shit in. It was.
I was gonna say I'm definitely gonna be bringing either my Miss Village Mafia bag or like some sort of like drawstring bag to where I can carry stuff with for one of the days we don't cosplay or anything, because I know like Shadow Alley Press, they give away like a free book for the first like 100 people.
You will get a lot of stuff given to you from the actual
my favorite poster that I have hanging up in my game room is one that Joel got me or 2 years ago at Dragon Con when he went and got me an Arcane Ascension poster from Podium Publishing, and I was like, if they have a copy of the book, please just get me one, because I will pay for it. If Andrew's there, just have him sign it.
Yeah. Yeah, signing the books is great. It's just the carrying it if you can't get back to your apartment.
You know what? I didn't use a locker in high school. I just carried all my books around, so I think I got this. It'll be a good workout for me. All right.
It actually took me. I literally got every book that Mountaindale had out at the time in 2019 when I went, and there was 2 boxes of books to ship from the States to the UK. I didn't actually get them till about a year and a half later, and I really should have just got a extra suitcase and put them in a suitcase and paid to bring them on the plane, because it would have cost a lot less than trying to post them. So, but there was a lot of books that year that got damaged. I actually took a signed set of Quatera that my co-writers had signed as well out there for one of the moderators, Jay Taylor, and he posted them back from Dragon Con to his house, and they got damaged and he lost a lot. So
see,
There's
Joel and I have been arguing about this because
yeah.
from where we live, it's about a 8-ish hour drive to
Mm,
Atlanta. Um, hey, either get in here or go. Sorry, he's never been this bad.
that's fine.
Um,
8 hours
so
is not that bad, is it? If you
so
It's
drive.
a 2-hour drive to your house from my.
well, that's why you come down
Uh,
the night before. We sleep,
yeah.
and then we get up and we hit the road. We get there. We leave my house probably what 4:30 in the morning.
Yeah. Drive about 9, 10 o'clock.
We would get there probably because we're on the same time zone as them. So if we leave
Mm-hmm.
at 4:30 in the morning, we'd get there probably around noon
Mm.
ish, give or take.
Yeah,
And
I think we probably want to get there around the hotel. That way we get all our shit in.
right,
Yeah.
and that way if we get a lot of merch, we can just throw it in the back of my car. It's just gonna be
Yeah.
you and I. So
Fill a car.
yeah, you know how deep the trunk is
All
in
of
my
us.
car. You saw what I brought back from Colorado when I moved because I packed everything else up that I could in my bedroom, and I just brought it back. So
Yeah, I mean, we fit like 2 bodies in that trunk.
God damn it, Joel. For legal reasons, that was a joke. For legal reasons, that was a joke. For legal reasons, that was a joke.
No, we only kill characters in books. We do.
We do like killing characters in books, especially
No, we
evil,
don't.
vindictive characters. Joel,
Okay, evil, vindictive characters, yes.
yeah, it's not like we're killing like Princess Donut off or anything. God, we don't want to do that. We like her too
I love.
much.
I
I
would
really,
rebel.
I really revel in actually building up characters to take them out, and I get messages off my fans and they say,
All right,
"Why?" I'm
so
crying my eyes out.
in the least spoiler way, who was your favorite character to kill off?
How is that like least spoil?
I
Give
can't
no.
really say if it is. I mean, it is.
Okay,
It's
in which book does that character die? How about that?
book 3.
I'm trying to remember who dies in book 3. Oh, ooh. Okay.
Yeah, I'd have to say book 3 because I mean everybody hated me for doing it, um, but it had to be done.
All right.
He had to die.
All right.
Obviously, reasons that only come about in book 4, towards the end of book 4 into book 5.
I really need to jump on the series and get into book 5 because I was doing Audible and it's hard for
Yeah,
me to
of course.
go from hearing Neil Helliger's voice to me
Reading.
imagining Neil Helliger's voice, which I did do it
Yeah.
for what was it, Age of
They
Steel?
just one of yeah.
Is that the newest one?
Jez's one's the newest one, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which shout out to Jez, happy release on Age, and same to you, Mr. Helligers. I don't know if it's actually out on Audible yet or not.
It's
I
not
haven't
out
looked.
on it. I don't think it's been recorded yet.
Neil, get on it. And I was wrong.
It's a
It was
guy.
Bronze. It was the third book that I read the copy of before, because I did listen to. I want to say I was listening to Age of Steel on my way home from Colorado when I moved because I moved in July,
Uh-huh.
and it was right before Bronze came out, or whatever the second. I think it goes Stone. Is it
Age of
Iron? Is
Stone.
book 2?
Don't know. I'm listening.
There's Age of
I'm
Stone,
listening to
Age
book
of
2 myself.
Iron. Yeah, Age of Iron is book 2, and
Age
then
of
Age of
Stone,
Bronze
Age
is
of Bronze, and then Iron. I thought.
whatever the
I'm
second.
pretty sure that's
Age
how
of
you.
Iron. 3 is Age of Iron. I'm listening to that one at the minute. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it was Age of Bronze then. That was the book
Yeah.
2. But the way book 1 ended, I was just like, wow, where is he gonna go from here? And then book 2
It's
started.
really
I was
good.
like,
Book 1
oh.
was really, really good.
Yeah.
So
He's a very good author.
good game.
Enhanced
So
by a good narrator.
I'm loving alphas.
Neil could narrate a phone book and I would listen to it. I am not
Yeah.
kidding. He's just too damn good.
Yeah.
And the way he delivers some lines, I remember telling him about it in our episode with him. Was there's a line in, I want to say it's the fourth Good Guys book. It's either the fourth
Oh
or
yeah.
fifth, and Montana just goes, "Are you calling me a fucking liar, Pudgy?" And just the way he delivers it,
I
I
sent
was
Mike Chatfield
cackling.
a couple of clips of lines as we were going through Ten Realms, a couple of bloopers and a couple of sort of like really good deliveries of him with Rugrat and Eric. Just little tiny snippets of different things he could put in, like extra promotional bits. Um, some of the funny thing. I mean, it's really good working with narrators because you do get to kind of see some of the mistakes that they make, which
Yeah.
just make me laugh
I
really
think they
funny.
did a really good job with Rugrat.
Yeah, I think he did. He did really well, especially coming into the series like at book 6.
Yeah.
Oh, was
It
that for
was a
the 10th
lot of
run?
yeah, it was a lot of work. There was
I
literally like 1,000 names.
Yeah,
Like
and a lot of them were like Asian or
yeah,
like yeah,
it was very difficult, but he did a really good job.
I
he
am very
did.
disappointed in myself because I need to finish that series, but I'm waiting until Neil has narrated all the other books. Like I have,
They're all out. They should
Book
all be
10
out now.
is now
Yeah,
yeah.
it's just
I
out
need
now. It's
to
just been released.
I think the last one I read or
but has
listened
he
to was
done books 1 through 5 all the way through? Because I know last I
7.
Yes, they're all done now.
oh, okay, because the last time I looked, it still had the original narrator. I think it was on book 4.
Yeah, they've all been replaced now. It was over Christmas. 4 and 5
Okay,
came out.
then I'm gonna go finish the series so I can say I have finished a
It's
Michael Chatfield series, and Joel will quit
it.
yelling at me.
Oh, dude, Trap Mine Project is
I
just
know,
Yeah,
I know.
it
peak
is really good.
Chatfield.
I will finish Trap Mine Project because dwarves are where it's at,
It
and
is
Dave
so
is
good.
so cool.
He
Joel, I
is.
know, I
You
know.
can listen. You can listen to him kill me off.
Well, okay. So here's the thing with Joel Harvey over there. He goes, okay, you need to finish this series, 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 and this series, and this series. And I'm like,
No,
Joel,
see,
let me read my
what
damn
bugs
books.
me, what bugs me is that we listen to so many books that are like
Yeah.
ongoing series. So when we actually get one of these books that has a like satisfying ending,
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, you need to finish this.
Okay, but the only one that has a
It's so good.
satisfying ending that you've said is Emerillia
Amarillia,
and World
World
Seed.
Seed,
But I'm talking like, okay, I have to read the God.
World Tree. What's it
I
called?
Yeah.
finished World Tree. We finished that one together.
Yeah. See? And it was fantastic.
Yes, we finished that one together. I know. But no, I'm saying like you have me reading what the Godlings, whatever, the one with the squirrel girl,
Oh, God King's Legacy.
God King's Legacy. We have that. I have
I just picked
He
that
Who
up.
Fights with Monsters to catch up on.
I can't. I
There's
can't
just
do web
Welcome
serials
to
and
Stats on Stats, the place where we make your backlog infinitely
in
long.
bigger.
Oh, you can ask Zeckler. Zeckler curses me every time because he's like, "Oh, well, damn it, gotta add it to the backlog."
It's like literally, I have a UK Audible account and a US Audible account, both getting credits every month.
Oh my
And then
god.
I go and buy 24 credits, and they're just gone in seconds because it's
That's
like
I
I
feel
have to
your
buy them.
pain.
And when the sale was on, the like
the Christmas
whatever it
sale.
was, the other for like $4 or $5, I literally it was $140. I got like 50 books,
Oh my god.
and there's no way I'm ever gonna listen to like any of them.
See,
They're just gone.
because Joel and I we compare our libraries and everything, and I think I have like 300 and some, and he has like 500 and some.
I'm
I
at like
have
a
spent
1,400 or
over
so.
a year listening to audiobooks now
Yeah, that's
in
good.
I
my
don't know what my
stats.
stats are.
I started I started driving. I can't remember the year, probably 2016, for a living. I drove a little sandwich truck, a little roach coach, I think they call them in the States. And so I never realized there was audio books for quite a while. I listened to the old cassette tapes when I was a kid, of Storyteller and different things like that, telling stories and on cassettes. But I never twigged about audiobooks until somebody mentioned it when I first published my first sci-fi. It was like, "Oh, what are you doing? Audiobook?" And I was like, "There's audiobooks." I was like, "Yeah." And so I actually only kind of got back into audio from like 2015, and that was it. When I was driving, I would listen every day, and I flew through books, and I'd review. That's how I met Jeff Hayes. Was
God, he is
I
such a gem.
reviewed some of his first audiobooks like back in 2000s. They weren't even lit RPG at the time, so
I love Jeff. I got to actually have a sit
yeah,
down meeting with him and Justin Thomas James a couple weeks ago, and that was
it's
like,
really nice.
well, Joel and I met him back in August. We went to Gen
Yeah.
Con just to meet him, like specifically
Oh,
for him and him alone.
yeah,
Because he was
that's
like, oh,
great.
yeah, I'm at Gen Con. And I was like, okay, well, we're going to go and meet him.
Okay. Yeah.
But I mean, my first dive back into the audiobooks, like, because I mean, growing up in school and everything, we listened to audiobooks, but the narrators were always so dull, so boring.
It
That
was
I
just
didn't want.
read, it wasn't acted.
Right, it wasn't a
Yeah.
performance. It was just, and
Yeah.
he walked through the forest, and this is what he did. No, I don't want to hear that. I want to hear
Yeah.
the excitement. I want to hear all that
Yeah.
stuff. So Joel came out to visit me when I was living out in Colorado. His first time out there, and he was like, "Dude, you have to read the land. Read the land with me.
Ah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
what you need to do." I was like, "Okay, fine." So I started it, and it didn't click with me at the time because I was dealing with a lot of personal stuff. And then my buddy at the time said, "Oh, you got to check out, like a Star Wars audiobook. Those are where it's at because they have sound effects, they have the music and everything." I was like, "Okay, that I'll do." And then I was
Yeah.
like, "Okay, this was good. I'm working overnights now. I can listen to books. Let's check out the land again." And I was hooked. I was
Yeah,
hooked,
it's
and
good.
now I'm. That's been my
Boy,
life.
yeah. Once you're hooked, you just can't get out of lit RPG. It's just
So, what was
I
your first lit RPG? That's what I was gonna get to. Like, what was your first reading of a lit RPG?
first, I like I said, it was audio. I actually broke my hand,
Mm-hmm.
so I had an old Kindle, a little keyboard Kindle.
Yeah.
And the first audiobooks that I actually had read to me off my old Kindle, which were I can't recall the name of it. It's one of the really sort of like old books, obviously like 2017.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I can't recall the name of it, but I actually listened to Pirate Abba. She had quite a few chapters on her website of what
The
I
Wandering
presume
Inn.
it was like one of her yeah, it was like one of her fans had read chapters, and I listened to that.
Gotcha.
And then I went to the game 3, and that was the first sci-fi lit RPG, and that was it. Then I was like, right, I need more of this. Where can I get all this? And it was just like I just bought like all the audio. Found Jeff Hayes actually had um, narrated a couple of lit RPG, Blaze Corvin, and a couple of others.
Feedback
William D.
loop.
Aaron, yeah, and Feedback Loop. They were all like my first like real audiobooks for like in the genre, and that I just couldn't get out of it. That was it.
I think Feedback Loop was my first introduction to Jeff Hayes and also Harmon
Yeah,
Cooper.
it was very good. Yeah, I love that for the just morning
It's one of
coffee.
my favorite Harmon Cooper books now.
Morning Assassin with the coffee and everything. Yeah, it was
Joel, I'm telling you,
really
dude,
good.
Morning Assassin and Quantum Hughes.
Yeah.
We'll do it. You get to wear a boiler hat.
If I go as anyone, it's gonna be is it Doc? Is that the
Oh, the old
whoever makes the mods?
that's Doc. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all right.
I'm not sure what his name is, but
No, it's Doc.
I
It's
think
Doc.
it's I don't know.
Yeah. Have you read books 5 through 8 yet, Joel?
I think I've read book 6. I want to say.
Have you listened to
I
the
think that's as far as I
redo
got.
ones?
I don't know.
Because he redid them and he gave us the box sets, so that's why I was asking. Because we have that, and we have Proxima Legends.
I haven't done the redone ones.
Oh,
I've
they're
only
good.
done the originals.
Oh, they're really good.
I wish I had the time. I really just
Don't get attached. Don't get attached.
Yeah, I really just it's time. Time's just there's just not enough time to do it all.
And I mean, Joel and I will probably get some gaming in later tonight, and while we do, I'll just put one of my AirPods in right here
And listen, yeah,
and listen as we play.
it's one of them where there's just I quit last year I quit admin for the big groups
Mm-hmm.
because they were taking up so much time, and I really wanted to concentrate on more writing. Um, I did um, sort of the 10 Realms with Neil and Chatfield like all last year, as well as keeping up with the rest of my audiobook work, and writing at the same time. And I was like, I can't do this. It's just like I was doing 100+ hour weeks. I was like, I've got to stop the admin. So I cut all that out, and I was amazed at the difference in how much extra writing I could get done in just that couple of hours every day. Amazing difference. So
All right. Well, I think we should probably start wrapping up the show because we're almost at that hour mark,
Oh
and I know it's
yeah.
kind of late for you
it's fine.
because time zones are fun, as your
Yes.
host earlier said. So one of the things we like to do at the end of our shows for those who haven't tuned in is a hey, what you been reading? So hey Joel,
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask Don first. Hey Don, what have you been reading?
I just said that I'm actually on the third book of Rise of Mankind, so it was Age of Bronze with
Mm-hmm.
for Jez. I've been listening to Neil, not reading. Reading book wise, I was reading God of the Feast,
Oh, that's a good
Kevin
one. Kevin
Sinclair.
Sinclair.
I have the audiobooks, but I can't do the audio while I'm trying to listen to Age of Bronze because I was walking an hour a day, and that's like my audio time for different. Obviously, I do a lot of Travis's work, so it's like the only other audiobooks I can do when I'm out of the house, so I
Mm-hmm.
have to pick my time. But yeah, Age of Bronze, it's good.
Okay.
I will be waiting for the next one. I'm almost to the end of book 3, so
Rise of Mankind is just good. Shout out to Jez. We can't wait to have you on the show, Jez.
Dude,
yeah.
I'm
Because
a huge fan of his Alpha series.
I
the
couldn't get
Arise.
into the audio for that.
Oh,
Oh,
I
dude,
I
like.
book
couldn't do it.
2. Ooh, he's like an avenging angel, and I love it. And he destroys everything, and it's
Yeah.
brilliant.
Sometimes it's just the. I mean, I got into the Rise of Mankind dead quick. It's just sometimes it's just not the right
Yeah,
book at the right time.
it
So it's
does
just.
start off a little slow, I think, for
Mm,
book 1. I feel
I'll
like
give it another
lit
go.
RPG in general has that issue where it's
It
like
does.
you have to
That's why
like
I didn't like. Everyone's like, why did you do that to Kyle straight away? And I was like, well, yeah, it's. I don't pussyfoot around too long. Me, I dive straight in. It's like no, no messing about. No, I think the only book I actually really took my time with developing like the game part and getting into it was Achilles. And that was because I worked with the game's designer Chris, and we went through the whole like selection process and all that. Right, it was like chapter 5 or 7 by the time she actually kind of really got into the game. But I like to really get in quick, actually.
Hey Joel,
yeah.
what you been reading?
Yeah.
Well, it's been so long since we've had a show.
Okay,
So
do
I'm
like the
not gonna
last
say
five. Do
everything,
like the last
but I
five.
will say like the highlights of like
Few.
Defiance of the Fall book 8 came out by accident
Yeah,
on
Yeah.
that
Audible.
was a sticky situation there.
Uh
Yeah.
but am I love the like heck out of it.
Yeah.
Uh Artorian Archives had a new release. I read through the uh God King's Legacy series. That was really good. Vigil's Valor, book 2 of James A. Hunter. I know we covered that last season. Book 2 came out. That was really good.
Cool.
Book 8 of Justin Miller's World Keeper. I think it's book 8. Uh, Tides of Chaos. Book 10, my bad. Uh, yeah, I'm loving the heck out of that series.
Good.
I love Justin Miller. He's crazy, crazy worlds. Also, I started Snake's Rule. I'm about like halfway through it. It's really good.
I like that series. That's good.
So,
Um,
Rich, what you been reading?
Well, I've been catching up on the Eternal Dominion series because, I love my audio for that because Zach Johnson is just uber damn talented.
I totally forgot to mention Eternal Dominion.
Well, I'll cover it for you there. The Proxima Legends box set just came out, and since Harmon sent us, a copy of it, I dived right into that immediately, even though we have the original release of it. The First Chronicles by Shami Stovall, if I pronounced
Yeah.
that correctly. I hope I did. I'm so sorry if I didn't. I did a re-listen to Legends and Lattes just because I wanted to feel some emotions again.
I love that book.
And I'm currently repowering my way through the Watchers series from Sean Oswald, Life in Exile, to get ready for the second part of that series, where it follows more Jackson and the kids than Dave and Emily. Since the last time we've been on, I think that's really about it. Because I've been working on my project a little bit too much that it's taken away from my listening time, which I'm not complaining. For non-lit RPG, I just kind of reread the Percy Jackson series because, you know, I like Percy Jackson.
Of course.
But that's really been about it. Um, I don't know, the Irrelevant Jack series I've powered through because I was getting the codes from Justin. Yeah, that sounds about right. So I think that's it. Oh, and Alpha. I finally caught up on Alpha Dark Crusader.
Nice.
So, but that's it. So, tune in. As of right now, our next show is going to be on the 12th of March, 2 weeks from now. Roughly right about the same time.
Is that Sunday or Monday?
That is a Sunday. After that episode, the following week, which let me look at the calendar real quick. So Monday the 20th, starting then, we will be doing our every other week normal stuff, but we will be doing Monday shows instead of Sunday just because it works a little bit better for Joel and I with our availability and all that stuff. So, because Sundays are a little rough sometimes because of my work schedule and retail. Love to see it. So Monday nights are where we're going to be moving to. We're still going to be doing 7 p.m. Eastern time. It's just we're doing earlier shows for the time difference of
UK.
UK. Now, if Joel and I could, magically plan a trip over to the UK, we would just do it at a normal time over there.
Well, I will see you in Dragon Con, so there you go.
Oh, and Joel and I have already decided we're probably going to do some like vlogs and stuff at Dragon Con to upload to the YouTube channel and do like a little documentary of stats at Dragon Con, which a lot of it's going to have to be edited out.
Sure. Definitely.
Because I'm going to be drinking a lot.
Daddy feels like dancing.
A lot of water.
Yeah.
Water, guys, get your mind out of the gutter. I'll have to go to the bathroom a lot. I'm not gonna be drinking alcohol.
Because the water.
Obviously. Yeah,
it's definitely no good drinking alcohol there.
Now, if there's
especially in the heat as well.
If there's a party like at one night, then yeah, I'll indulge a little bit and have myself a drink or two. But no, as of right now, Jez Cascio is our next author we're gonna have on, and that's on the 12th of March. I did message him today to make sure that day still works because I don't want to interfere with the Lit RPG Legion stuff. But that is our schedule as of right now, and I'm looking at booking a couple other authors for after that because right now we have a free open schedule. I know Burn Dean wants to come back on and talk about his prelude and everything. And then Joel and I have a couple of show ideas that we're going to be pitching, so it's not just stats on stats this year. It's going to be looking at some newer authors on Royal Road and all of that fun stuff. And we have a D&D campaign actually planned for this year. We've talked about it. We're doing it this year. We're not sure how we're doing it, but we're doing it this year. And that's kind of it. I will have the YouTube finally fixed and everything to where we'll be streaming to YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch at the same time instead of just on Twitch.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just our plan for right now. So we'll go ahead and start wrapping up with the little game we like to play of, hey, where can people find you? It's kind of like Where's Waldo, except we tell you where you can find us. So, Don, where can people find you?
Literally everywhere. All the Facebook groups, Facebook, Twitter, mostly as Conundra. That's kind of like my kind of go to name. In a lot of the Discord groups, I have my own Discord, Patreon. You can literally just type in Conundra or Dawn Chapman on Google, and I will show up. So
All right. Hey, Joel,
Yeah,
where can people
you
find you?
can find me across the internet
yeah,
at Sir Valor Hunter or just
Nice.
Sir Valor Hunter. PlayStation, Xbox, Twitch,
Steam.
Twitter, Steam. Yep. Hit me up. We'll talk about lit RPGs. Maybe play some games.
Yeah. We're going to
Yeah.
probably be playing some Overwatch or Monster Hunter here soon.
fun.
Oh, yeah. And you can always find me at Rich Dolphus on Twitter and on Xbox, Steam. PlayStation is at Rich Dolph's Lit RPG because Rich Dolphus was taken, but it wasn't. It's just they didn't like it. So
Ah,
thanks, Sony. You're awesome there. Um, and also over at Stats on Stats Lit on Twitter because that's just where our Stats on Stats Twitter is. I have been uploading a little bit to TikTok recently, just like book collections and little edits that Zeckler has made for us.
I'll
So
have to find you on TikTok. I've got
it
TikTok,
it's
so
just Rich Dolphus. I think I might be
yeah,
following you actually.
I'll have a look.
But yeah, that's really about it. But I want to thank everyone for tuning in and helping
Thank
us
you.
make a fun first episode of Level 3. We're excited to bring all new sorts of content to you this year, and hopefully, might possibly bringing in a third official member of the group.
Ooh,
So we got some stuff in the works, and we're excited. But we hope everyone
yes.
has a wonderful night, weekend, day, whatever time it is, wherever you are. For all things lit RPG, progression fantasy, and dungeon cultivation, thank you for tuning in.